Good morning. We'll call the August 28th, 2024 Development Review Committee meeting to order. And I'd ask that everybody stay silent. We are live streamed, so if you're an applicant, please come up to the mic so we can get everything on the record. We'll start with roll call. Community Development, Bobby Howell is present. Police.
Mike McKinley.
Public Services.
Richard Earp's here.
Fire.
Jeremy Holderfield.
And Building.
John Hansen's here.
All right, the first item on the agenda is an annexation. It's also coupled with a future land use amendment for Golden Grove. Gene Sanchez is the project manager.
Good morning, everybody. This is a proposal for an annexation and future land use amendment for Golden Grove. It's really two parcels, 4146 and 4160. Let's see here. It's really just single family. This is in the KPI mixed use form-based code area. So just keep that in mind once they come in for their zoning application. We did just submit, or the city just submitted a development profile to the school for school capacity. So we're waiting on the determination before it moves forward to public hearings. But I do have tentative dates in October for Planning Commission and November for City Council.
Is the applicant in attendance?
No,
Does not
Jeff
appear to be.
Summit is not in attendance.
All right. With that, we'll go around. DRC Community Development has no other comments to offer. Police.
This really doesn't deal with this annexation. Is the Kelly Park traffic thing that's going on include improvements to Golden Gym, or when are we doing these improvements to Golden Gym? What's the?
Oh, look, the applicant's here.
Oh, good. Well, he can answer that.
All you have to do is talk about him, and he'll show up.
That's right.
Actually, I'll start with the answer in that. So before the portion of Golden Gym had been transferred to the city, there was Pam had gotten a consultant on board to begin the design. Their design is held up at 30% plans. They say waiting on our friend Mr. Summit to let them know whether his pond can take the water from Golden Gym or not. So the city's consultant right now is on hold at 30% to fix, I believe, the northern portion of Golden Gym. Does that make sense, Jeff?
The way I understood the design when I talked to Kimley Horn, who was the consultant the city hired to do the work on Golden Gym, was they were doing everything from Kelly Park all the way down to Quintero's old property, that main entrance. So what is it, Capitol Reef, I believe.
Okay. Yep.
So what we talked to them about doing was, and they reached out to me at the time, was to help them with the stormwater for that portion of Golden Gym, because if you drive that portion of Golden Gym, it's got a nice little dip right there to the north, and then it goes back up that hill. So that's what we're working on. They had already sent me the basin data for incorporation into our pond design. You're going to see that with the MDP submittal. So I'm working, Devo's doing our geotech, and so he's going to handle the recovery analysis on this one. And we're going to incorporate that drainage for those Golden Gym improvements with our design, and that will be part of our construction plan approach for this project.
You're talking about part of your responsibility would just be the pond, but the
Correct.
city still is working on the
Correct.
design for Golden Gym and improvements to the north side of Golden
Right.
Gym,
And
which I'm assuming is going to connect to the improvements that Orange County had already done to the southern section. I hope we're not leaving like a 100-yard section that's not connected to each other.
well, if you look at, so you see on the map there where Ryan Holmes is with the Parkview Preserve, so that their northern entrance there that's Capitol Reef. So the way I understood the acquisition of the right-of-way that was being done by the city for Golden Gym Road with Orange County is going to be that portion of Golden Gym Road between Capitol Reef Way, which is just north of that little marker there, all the way up to Golden Gym Road, and that's going to be the portion that Kimley Horn's working on for the improvements.
Okay.
Now that area to the south of that, all the way back down to Ponkin there, I don't know if Orange County is going to do anything with that.
Well, it's obviously significantly improved compared to the northern end that we just took responsibility for. It's wider. It's a better base. I mean, the traffic on Golden Gym on the north end with all the subdivisions and everything else, you drive down there and it's like a obstacle course. If trucks are coming at you and everything else, it's getting busier and busier.
True.
Every time I go down there because of all the subdivisions we're allowing to be built on there. So I just want to know that there's some end in sight to fix that road and make sure that it's safe for the public to travel down, because it's getting to a point where it's getting a little dangerous.
Well, but I think in addition to this, we have to talk about that east-west cross connection that's getting established with Sadler Road, right? So you got, what is it, Wild Oaks or whatever that monstrosity is that's being built on the east side there. I mean, they're working to make that connection. That's going to go all the way over to Plymouth Sorrento. I think we've talked about this for years. In the long run, I think the plan's there, the scheme's there, the multiple links and internal links to these developments is going to be there to allow traffic to move without getting out on these other major roadways that are substandard. But you improve Golden Gym Road, you get that east-west connection of Sadler over to Plymouth Sorrento. You've created that roadway network that's going to help alleviate some of that traffic. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of this traffic going south once those links are completed. I mean, the city does improvements to Golden Gym Road. You get that east-west connection. These residents aren't going to go south.
Right, and I agree, because the entrance to 429 is off Kelly Park.
Right.
That's where they're going to go, of course.
But you have but you get these multiple connections now to get them to Kelly Park, so they're not going to all concentrate at the intersection of Golden Gym Road and Kelly Park. They're going to be able to get over to Plymouth Sorrento. They'll be able to go north there through the Wild Oaks as well. So you're going to have multiple ways for people to get to the same location, and that's all we can ask for in a traffic perspective.
No, I agree, and I mean, right now we've allowed a lot of development on Golden Gym without any improvements to that road. So the cart's about 5 miles down the road from the horse.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it's not because we haven't tried.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we've been trying for years, but we've had the immovable object doing everything they can to prevent us from trying to do anything with Golden Gym Road.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you and I have ended up in the conversation, but my conversation was more meant for city staff than anything else. I just wanted to know, where are we at? Yeah. What are we doing? How far away? But according to Richard, we're 30% done. We just need your pond, and then maybe we can.
Well, I mean, Wild Oaks is giving you guys property. The acquisition of the right of way, the dedication of right of way. I mean, we're dedicating right of way with our development. It's already been anticipated in the site plan. I mean, the same thing we've done with every one of these developments in this corridor, and everybody's being consistent with it, and it's finally starting to come to fruition. And I think we're almost there. I've been saying it for years, but I see the vision, and the vision's actually starting to get constructed, which is a good thing.
All right. Thank you.
Public services.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Fire.
No comments.
All right, and building.
I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, that takes care of the annexation and the future land use for Golden Grove. Next item on the agenda is future land use and rezoning for 2300 West Poncan Road. June Son is the project manager.
Good morning. This is a change of future land use and rezoning request for the property located at 2300 West Poncan Road. The total size of the property is 3.56 acres. The property was annexed to the city in 2014 by the ordinance number 2379. The applicant has requested to change its land use from in progress to residential low suburban, which allows 3.5 dwelling units per acre, and its zoning from T transitional to RSF1B, which allows 5 dwelling units per acre. The property is surrounded by residential land use and residential zoning, and the proposed land use and zoning are consistent and comparable with the surrounding properties. The property is currently being used as a single-family house for one household, and the applicant has no plan to change its use. The applicant is here for respond. Any comments? Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Son. Applicants in attendance. Mr. Lee, if you have any questions or comments for the DRC.
If you have any comments, please let me know. Jason Lee.
Is this the current mobile home?
No, single family residence.
Where's it? Is there one there now on the
Yes.
property?
Yeah, there is. It's when you're going, I guess it would be west on Poncan. You pass the schools. It's pretty much the entire curve. That big curve.
Okay, and if I'm looking at this right, you have a circular driveway in front of it, or
That's right. Well, horseshoe, but yes, Poncan is, on the north side.
my question would be to the city: is there enough visibility with that curve for the one that's on the east side of the?
Well, this is all existing.
I'm sorry.
This is all existing. Like the house has been there since.
I just went by there, and I don't know how I missed this property.
There's a hidden driveway sign. That tells you anything. But yeah, I mean, that driveway, that house, we're not looking to do anything. When we annexed 10 years ago, we didn't know better than to put a zoning and a future land use in place. And that's what we're trying to do. We were talking about building a house on there and found out transition only allows for the one household. So if we ever want to build a house on it, we have to do this. So that's why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, we'll go around. Community development has no additional questions or comments. Police, anything else?
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Public services,
No additional comments, thanks.
fire,
No comments.
and building.
I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is Chandler Hills rezoning master plan first submittal. I'm the project manager. The applicant is in attendance. You received your comments from the DRC. Are there any you would like to discuss?
Luke Klassen, Appian Engineering. There's a couple comments I want to talk to you. Bobby, we kind of talked before the meeting that we'll set up a meeting with Alex Stringfellow based on his comments, kind of go through that. There's a couple that you made there that I want to verify. Status of the capacity and enhancement determination, that came in after we made the submittal, so we have that now, as well as the traffic report. We have both those now, so we can put those with our resubmittal. Demonstrate the architectural elevations that are provided are consistent with the architectural styles noted in the form-based code for the KPI. We'll put together a list. Is that what staff's looking for? Like basically saying, here's what we meet. We do dormer windows, recessed garages, those kind of things. Okay. We'll make a list and provide that to you. And I know the elevations were provided, but we'll make a quick point of like all the houses meet these criteria. Kind of give that for you. No problem with the 12-foot multi-purpose trail. We had intended for that on Kelly Park or on Kelly Park Road when we coordinated with Pam previously. So we were giving 30 feet of right of way. So the intent was always to do that. We can just show that on the master plan. That's no problem. The one that I really want to talk about was demonstrate how large vehicles will not extend into the sidewalks in the front of lots. So with the KPI, the minimum setback for the front setback is 15 feet. So we called out 15 feet, but in our development standards, we said the garage setback's actually minimum 20, maximum 30. The reason for this is because Ashwood's doing their higher end product here. They have they're treating almost like a semi-custom build. So it's going to be each lot is going to be individual, and the buyer gets to choose. They have anywhere from 8 to 10 foot front porches, and the KPI allows for a 6 foot encroachment of the porch into the front setback. So because each one of the houses are either anywhere from 5 to 10 foot recessed garage, they have the garages that'll be at least 20 feet back, but up to 30. So you should have enough room, or you'll have enough room for the sidewalk. We may be able to push the 20 to push it up to like a 22, 23. We can look at that. Would that help clarify?
Yeah, and the reason for this comment, this came up at the planning commission meeting. Some planning commission members have observed people that live in the KPI that have large trucks, the pickup trucks that overhang driveways. The police department has brought this up as well. So that's kind of the reason for this comment. I guess police has to write tickets for that.
Under the current guidelines, you cannot park an F-250 in your driveway without blocking the sidewalk. And guess who gets the complaints?
Yeah, if you did 15, so that's why we're doing minimum 20, maximum 30. We can probably push it to like 22, 23. We need to look at all the product type and just make sure that where each one falls. Like take the worst case scenario for if they were to get a 10 foot, if the buyer were to select a 10 foot porch and they had a 5 foot recessed garage instead of a 10 foot recessed garage, where would that put the actual garage? So we can look at that and see how much we can push the 20 to increase it to 22, 23.
Because unfortunately, the garages aren't built big enough for an F-250 anymore either. And these large trucks that it's just a product of society. I get that, but we have to deal with the complaints of them sticking out over the sidewalk. Then if they have a trailer hitch on top of it, it's even worse and even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Kids going by the sidewalk and hitting those items that are sticking off the back of these big trucks and everything else. So it's something that the city needs to address. While we're on the topic, I do want to make sure, although I know I sound like a broken record because you've heard this numerous times, that all the townhomes face a named street and all the alleyways have street lighting.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's in our development standards, so I'll double check that it's in there, but I believe
not
it's
lights on the buildings, street lights.
I'm not sure how it's described. Let me look at that, and we'll figure that out.
Because lights on the buildings can be turned off. We need street lights for safety in those alleyways for our.
Okay. I think how we did it previously on a Pulte development was that the lights on the rear of the on the rear loaded product the lights in the rear were actually controlled by the HOA. It wasn't actually part of the
I think
homeowners.
that the new code requires street
Actual
lighting.
poles. The
Yes,
poles sometimes cause problems in alleys, but we can talk about that.
you're smarter than I am. You can figure it out.
I just know it gets really tight in those alleyways. It's like,
Well, I get it, and that creates a bigger problem with these driveways. Is now everybody's going to park in those alleyways. The fire department's not going to be able to get down them. We're not going to be able to get down them. We're creating disaster with these rear-loaded, short driveways, small garages. It's just the unintended consequences of some of this stuff. But there does need to be street lighting in the alleyways so that it's safe for the residents when they get out of their cars.
I saw the comment. We'll definitely coordinate on that, and I'll verify what our client's looking to do and how we'd like to address it. I know the poles sometimes can be an issue, but let me talk through that with my client.
Well, there's several of them going around in the city now since that requirement went in, and they seem to be perfectly fine.
Okay. With the demonstrating how large vehicles will not extend to the sidewalks, is there a specific number the city's looking for? Like, do you want it to be 25 feet, 22 feet? Like, is there something? Because I think the majority of these homes based on the setbacks will be between 25 and 30 feet from the garage to the sidewalk. But I think there's a couple products that might be closer to 22, 23.
You could almost do like an example like of an auto turn where you show like a driveway and like the width of a truck, or like an F-250 parked in a driveway to show that it won't overhang.
We'll do like a worst case scenario. Yeah. Okay, we can do that.
And I'm not picking on Ford. Every one of them has a big truck, so every manufacturer. So.
But I'll take the worst case scenario, and that way we know we can at least meet that, and then everything beyond that will be better than that scenario.
Yeah, you can put on the plan F-250, GMC Sierra,
Mike's truck,
Silverado, Tundra.
You want a full lineup? Yeah, I can do that. Richard, we talked already with you said the master plan doesn't have enough detail. I think the MDP is what you're looking for. So we'll still have the MDP after this, and then the CSP. So I think we kind of covered that, and we'll provide the traffic report with the resubmittal. And then, Mike, the other thing with your comment was about the traffic circles. I started making an exhibit. We were going to add. You wanted some on the west side, or what's on the bottom of this screen view. I'll send you an exhibit of where we were thinking about adding them to address your concern with that. What would be the bottom straightaway, which is the western straightaway?
It just goes with everything else we've talked about. These long straightaways.
Yeah.
We need some kind of calming devices so I don't have to stay out there doing traffic control all the time, and eliminate some of our workload through design. So.
Yeah, we'll revise that, and then we'll get it over to you.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. We'll go around community development, our comments. We've discussed those. Police, any additional questions or comments for the applicant?
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Public services.
I have nothing else, thanks.
Fire.
No comments.
And building.
I don't have anything, thanks.
All right. Thank you. There are no other items on the agenda. Any items for discussion?
Are we going to do something in the code about these driveways?
The code has the range of setbacks. We've had this discussion about the 15-foot minimum in the neighborhood, maximum of 30 foot where they can set it back. Transition has different setbacks. I mean, if you want to propose some changes to the code, feel free to. You are a member of the DRC, and then we could probably put those into like a glitch amendment or something that Jim used to do. If you want to do that, we could have that discussion at another
Because
DRC.
when we know something's not working, we should probably try to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
All right.
There will be no DRC meeting on the 4th or the 10th or the 11th, and so our next meeting will be on the 18th of September. All right, we're adjourned.